It's good to see you. As you know, we only get 5 minutes, so if you
Yes,
could
of course.
try to keep your answers short, I'm just going to ask some direct questions.
All right.
The first one is, do you commit, if you're confirmed for this position, to comply with any court orders directed toward the jurisdiction of the Office of Management and Budget?
Yes, Senator.
Good. So now let me talk briefly about what Senator Merkley discussed, which is the Impoundment Control Act. I think he referenced the letter you earlier signed to GAO asking whether or not the Biden administration had violated the Impoundment Control Act. You remember that letter, right?
I do.
And at that time, you agreed that the Impoundment Control Act was good law. Am I right about that?
Well, Senator, my views are more informed now than they were then, but
At that time,
I didn't draft the letter either, but I signed a letter to that effect.
That's right. And obviously, the assumption behind that letter was at that time you believed that was good law.
It was a lay opinion, Senator. That's right.
So you've changed your opinion since then, is that right?
Well, I've studied it more than I did.
So it is the law of the land. I mean, you signed that letter to GAO making that clear. Do you agree that until it's overturned by a court that you will comply with the Impoundment Control Act if confirmed?
Well, Senator, the determinations about how the administration will proceed in a legal strategy or the determinations being made by others than me. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer in the administration or to be a lawyer in the administration. The General Counsel's office at OMB makes those determinations. Director Vogt will make decisions in light of their determinations. Okay. And there's also a process.
I would suggest, Mr. Bishop, that you were right when you signed that letter a number of years ago. And to the chairman's comments, I would just point out, if you tear up the Impoundment Control Act, you might as well tear up Article 1. And we might as well pack up when it comes to using the power of the purse. So let me...
If I may, I don't mean to...
as long as it doesn't come out of my...
Oh, yeah, it will not count against you. Take all the time. Biden said the Impoundment Control Act did not require him to build the wall. Do you agree with that?
I believe the GAO looked at that allegation.
Well, the point is...
No. GAO is the body that we entrust to make these determinations.
Well, I mean, okay, but he said the Impoundment Control Act did not require him to build a wall when Congress told him to do it.
Well, GAO found that was not
GAO
an
is
illegal
not
impoundment.
the court here.
Well, GAO is the body that we as Congress have... Well, they are.
You get to... No, they're not.
Okay.
You get 2 extra minutes.
Actually, they are. If you look at the law, they're the ones that are entrusted in bringing actions to comply with the Impoundment Control Act. Is that right, Mr. Bishop?
No, sir. The GAO is an instrument of Congress.
Yeah.
It sets it might set an opinion that binds Congress, but it's not a court. So.
No. But anyway, that's who we empower to bring cases on behalf of Congress with respect to compliance with the Impoundment Control Act. Let me turn to the issue of the firing of probationary employees. You're familiar with the fact that a California federal district court issued a ruling related to this, right?
Actually, Senator, there are a lot of stories about a lot of things. I don't know if I've got that one crystal clear in my mind, but I'm aware there's...
So they just issued a ruling that directly relates to this, and the Merit System Protection Board also ruled in favor of 6 representative federal employees who'd been fired, who had been on probationary status. Are you familiar with that?
I heard about that, yes, sir.
Right. And so it's interesting because just yesterday, I believe, a spokesperson for OPM said that, quote, this change was helped to provide clarity in light of a recent court order. And the change was that the administration conceded that OPM cannot fire people who are probationary employees. Are you familiar with that?
No, I am not, actually, Senator.
So these employees were getting these notices from OPM and some of Elon Musk's folks that informed them that they were being fired. That is not allowable. It has to be done by the agencies. And so I see that OPM had to clean that up. They claimed it was because of some public misinformation, but there's no public misinformation when somebody gets a directive from OPM. You are familiar with the standard, and I think you outline it here in this memo, that has always been up to agencies whether to take performance-based actions against probationary employees. So you agree that it has to be a performance-based reason to fire somebody who's on probationary status. Is that
Sorry,
right?
Senator, I'm trying to remember what memo you're referring to. Is it something that I wrote?
No, but this is something that came out of OPM that directly relates to the administration's actions.
Well, I'm not in command of everything that OPM has issued, and not even in the same agency, obviously, and I'm just a senior advisor.
Well, OMB is sort of the cockpit for the entire federal budget. But let me ask you this: Do you know what the standard is for firing somebody based who's on probationary status?
I do not. I certainly don't profess, for example, to be an expert, a legal expert on that subject. A lot of people sort of think if you're a lawyer, you should know all of the law. I have not been an expert in federal personnel. I'm generally aware of the existence of Title V and so forth.
Well, the bottom line is, courts are finding that these were illegal actions taken by the Musk operation. And so I appreciate your answer to my very first question, that if confirmed, you will agree to comply with court orders. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Senator. Thank you.
Another minute if you want it.